Adding and subtracting decimals. Let's do some examples of either adding or subtracting decimals. Keep in mind, some of them could be positive numbers, some of them could be negative numbers, so you have to be careful on which is which and make sure that you apply the same rules that we did in integers. Okay, so right here, when we look at this first one, we see 5.4 plus a negative 9.7. So there is a negative, and that is attached to the larger number. So that means my final answer is going to be negative. So then I can just say 9.7 minus 5.4. And then I know my final answer is going to be negative because the negative was with the 9.7, which is the bigger number. So my final answer is going to be negative. So then make sure that when you're adding and subtracting decimals, you line up those decimal places. So 7 minus 4 is 3. 9 minus 5 is 4. So the answer is negative 4.3. Next one, we have 10.8 plus negative 4.73. So this time our smaller number is attached to the negative sign, so we're just going to subtract as we always do. 10.8 minus 4.73. Make sure that you have your decimal places lined up, and then put any zero placeholders if you don't have any extra numbers. Alright, so we have 0 minus 3, so we cross that out, put a 7. Then we have 10 minus 3, which is 7. 7 minus 7, which is 0. The decimal point, 10 minus 4 is 6. So your answer is a positive 6.07. For the next one, we have negative 4.79 plus a negative 0.4. So since there are two negative signs, that means the number is going to be a negative, a more negative number. So I'm just going to add the two numbers together and then put a negative on there. So that would be 4.79 plus 0.4. Make sure you have the decimal points lined up. Put placeholder 0. 9 plus 0 is 9. 7 plus 4 is 11. Carry the 1. Put your decimal down there. 1 plus 4 is 5. So your final answer is negative 5.19. And number 4, negative 0.5 plus 0.3. So this one, the larger 0.5 is greater than 0.3, so that means the larger number is negative, so my answer will be negative. So then I'm going to just take 0.5 plus 0.3 and then make it negative. So 5 plus 3 is 8, and carry the decimal down, and that's all I have to do. So 0.8, your final answer. Example 5, negative 8.1 minus negative 8.9. Okay, so if we remember our negative rules, when we have a negative and a negative next to each other, that cancels out to a positive. So I'm going to rewrite this as negative 8.1 plus 8.9. So now in this case, what we're doing is just what we were doing before, because it's a adding problem. So the first thing I'm going to do is look at where the negative is. The negative is with the smaller one. 8.1 is smaller than 8.9. So what that means is I'm going to take 8.9 minus 8.1. 9 minus 1. Make sure you have your decimals lined up. 9 minus 1 is 8. 8 minus 8 is 0. So your final answer is positive 0.8. And the next one, this one again, we could rewrite it to make it more like what we've done. We have negative 3.9 minus 8.9. So that would be plus a minus, plus a negative. So I'm going to rewrite that as negative 3.9 plus negative 8.9. Okay, so then all we have to do is recognize that both of these are negative numbers, so that means my answer has to be negative. Then I can just add them together. So I have 8.9 plus 3.9, and I get 9 plus 9 is 18. 1 plus 8 is 9, plus 3 is 12. So your answer is negative 12.8. Okay, so if you want to, you can change everything to an adding problem and just add them together. But then you have to make sure that you're careful and you figure out if you need a negative sign or not. Those are your notes over adding and subtracting decimals. Go through the practice problems and make sure that you get them right. So check your work after you're done, and then you should be ready for a quiz over this skill.